Forget your preconceived notion of retirement as something that is passive and all about vacation and leisure time. That is not what this second act is all about. Hi, I'm Julianne Price with Life Edit and Design. In this video, I hope to change your view if you have that retirement is vacation land point of view. That is not what we're going to talk about today. Today, we're going to talk about how to structure and how to enjoy your retirement from a different perspective. Because if you approach it as this passive, I'm going to go out and just go on vacation for the next 20 years, you're going to find that you're wasting a lot of time and that you're going to have a lot of regret. This is a time where you really need to build the skill of structure. And that might sound really, really strange as you're moving into retirement. You're like, what do you mean I have to build a skill of structure? This is about freedom. And you can have freedom, but at the same time, you need structure. You need schedule structure. So let me dive into that. So what do you mean? What are you talking about? So if you approach retirement with this leisure activity, and that might be what you're thinking. It's all about, I'm just going to go on vacation, I'm going to travel and see the world, and that's great. You can do that. But you need to learn the skill of how to build structure into your routine, because before, in your work career, right, structure was handed to you. You knew you had a 9 to 5, which everybody has the blur of that, but 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. You knew what you had to do on your weekends, and there was a lot of structure. Your family provided structure. You knew when you had time off, there was structure to that. And if you move into this next phase of life without any structure, without building the skill of creating your own structure, you're going to find yourself bored. And that is not what I want for you. And so many people who move into retirement, that is their number one fear is, I'm going to be bored. I don't have anything to do. I don't have anything to fill my time. And that's where you need to build this muscle, learn how to create structure for yourself. That is actually what lifestyle design is all about. When you hear people say that word, intentional lifestyle design, you're like, what is that? It means building the muscle to create structure of your own, to create a nice rhythm that carries you through the second act, because that rhythm isn't going to be handed to you anymore from a corporate structure. And that's a good thing and a bad thing, because we've gotten lazy because structure was handed to us. We didn't learn that skill for ourselves. And that's what you need to build first in this retirement phase. Because if you look at, again, the travel thing, that's a honeymoon phase. That's I'm broke free, and you want the absence of structure. And I get that. And if you need that, go ahead and spend 6 months just having no structure, being willy-nilly. But I assure you that boredom will follow, and you'll have a lot of regret if you don't build this muscle right now. Learn how to create structure. And what does that structure look like? It looks like whatever you want. That's why I do an assessment. I do a quiz that helps you create a blueprint for what type of person are you? How much social versus leisure time do you need? Or active versus passive time? How much social versus solo time do you need? Your blueprint will help you determine that. And it's based on archetypes, and it's based on what energizes you versus what drains you. And I have a quiz, I'll put the link below, that really helps you. And then I help you modify and tweak and learn how to use that structure for yourself. So how would you create structure? What's it based on? It's based on your passions and your purpose. Like, you're going to reverse engineer. If you want to look at reverse engineering a bucket list, that's a great way to think about it. Is what problems do you see out there that need to be solved? When you were in your career, how did you feel? What did you say? Oh, I wish somebody would help me with this. Or what problems did you see that you could help the next up and coming generation deal with? Or as a parent, what were some of the things that were just like, oh my God, I'm so overstructured. I wish someone would show how to live a life without that overstructured, over parenting. What are those problems that you saw that you can now help somebody with? Or what are the problems just out in the world at large that you experience and you say, oh, well, somebody should have helped me with that, or this world really needs a solution to this. You can reverse engineer that and say, okay, if I want to be the person who helps solve that problem, what are some of the skills I would need? Who are the people that I would need? What are the structures I need to become a part of to help me solve this problem? Or conversely, or in addition to, what are some of the passions that you never got to explore? I had one friend who went to college for glass blowing, and then she dropped it because she couldn't find a worthwhile career. It's like she had this skill and this passion, but it wasn't responsible. And so she didn't do that as a career, and she had to go out and find a job that paid so that she could actually afford a lifestyle. And what I invite you now to is remember some of those passions and say, now you don't need to do the responsible thing. What are some things you really want to do just for the joy of it? And that's a lot of that is going to be the art and creative areas. But what can you do just for the fun of it? Or maybe there's a language you wanted to learn that you never bothered because you just weren't sure how you were going to use it. What can you do now to learn that language? This is where you get to build in those passions now for the fun of it. And you can maybe you want to go and learn dance now. Sure, you're not going to become a full-time professional ballerina at this age and at this stage in life, but that doesn't mean you can't enjoy it and have fun with it. So you need that reverse engineering bucket list to help you say, okay, what are the things that I wanted to do that now I can build into my schedule? And then as you're starting to build that schedule, you really want to look at what is the balance that you need between active and passive. Because yes, you do need rest time. I'm not saying this is all go, go, go in retirement, but you need a lot of activity and you need the correct amount of rest for you. And what is that going to be? And it's going to shift through the seasons. It's going to shift as you age. But for now, what is that? And again, the energy audit really helps you start to see what that mix is of how much active time you need versus passive time. And you have to experiment. You have to try things out. For me, I know that I front load my week. I do a lot of my active, more mental things like recording these videos. I do at the front end of the week. I make sure that's my busy part. And I get my hardest workout in at the front end of the week. And then later on in the week, it's more about play. It's more about leisure. It's more about creative brainstorming, imagination, reading for leisure. That comes at the second half of the week. And I found that works for me. But I also find that the mornings, I have to front load my mornings. So the busiest, heaviest lifting I do is in the mornings. But I've also found my workouts are best when I have the gym to myself. So I do my workouts in the afternoon. These are the things you have to navigate and tweak and enjoy. This is part of the fun. This intentional life design means you get to design your schedule. And that comes from trial and error and trying different things out. The other thing, so active and passive, you also want to look at social versus solo. What's the right mix? And your archetypes have a lot to do. Again, that quiz is there for you. But your archetypes have a lot to do with how much social you need versus the solo. And again, it's a balancing act. But now if we start to look at these and we start to see how you want to structure your act, now you can layer in travel with intention. So if you wanted to go on trips, now you know, is it to pursue a passion? Maybe you want to go take a glass blowing workshop somewhere, or maybe you want to take a yoga retreat, or maybe if you're on that, you need more solo in your life, maybe you want to take a silent retreat. Or for me, I need more friends, new friends in my life. And so I actually signed up for a women's retreat that is very small, very intimate group where nobody knows anybody. So when I go, I'll get to meet new people and I won't feel like a third wheel because it's not, people aren't traveling in groups, but it's a lot of solo people getting to meet each other and talk about topics that are about personal growth and development and yoga and meditation, right up my alley. So it's a great way. So now my travel has a purpose and a meaning because it's part of the bigger structure that I created for myself. So you see how travel now isn't just the sake of, oh, I'm going to go out willy-nilly and do things, but maybe it's now about purpose. So maybe if there was a language you wanted to learn, now you're going to be able to travel to the country where you can speak that language. Or if you really wanted to study more about art, now you can go and see some of the great works of art. But there's a purpose behind it. It blends into your bigger picture of what you want to do in this second act, that passion and those purpose now have a point behind your traveling. And that just feels so much richer. And that's what I want for you is this second act is something you worked hard for. And it shouldn't be something that you dread or you worry or you struggle through. This is a celebration of all that hard work now paying off. Now you have some skills and some interests that you can pursue with passion and joy and energy. And the other thing I wanted to make you sure, let's try that again. The other thing I wanted to make sure that you weave in is that physical activity. Making sure some of your passions and pursuits involve getting up off the couch and getting into movement. This is such a critical piece of this next act. Before, you could let life drag you along because you were up and about and life just required you to move around a lot more. Now you have to be intentional about how much you move your body, because if you don't do it now, your 80s will sneak up on you and all of a sudden you'll find that you can't bend down to the floor to pick something up, or stairs are become an issue. Yesterday I was doing a hike and it was called the Indian Ladder Trail, and there was a lot of steps. There was metal staircases built into the trail and then a lot of rock staircases. You want to be able to do that and navigate that. And there was a woman who I actually had to catch along the way because she'd started going up an incline and just couldn't. She's like, I don't know, I just lost my momentum and I just stopped, and I had to help her along. You want to be the person that can help, not the person who needs help. So that physical activity is so critical. And again, you need to do trial and error to find out what are the physical activities you want to build in, and where in the day do they fit, and how do you deal with the seasonality. If you live somewhere like I do where snow comes in, you have to be so much more intentional about your physical activity, about getting out of the house and not becoming too sedentary, because you lose muscles so easily as an older adult, especially as us women, when there's not estrogen flowing through our bodies anymore. We need to be out there doing active things, and that's part of the structure. And again, I help you with that to find what's that right thing for you, because your archetypes will give you some clues as to what is the right activities for you to build in. So those are very important. And when you do this, when you build in this structure, your mental and your physical health both thrive, because now you have intention behind what you do. There's a purpose behind all your activities. And even rest has a purpose now, because you knew I have so much activity and I need so much rest to recover, to get creative again. I need this much time reading a book. I want to, but I need it to be social, so I need it in a book club. Like all these mental things and physical things now become part of your structure, and it's a healthier way for you to approach retirement. And you also have more relationships. I don't know if you saw the other video I talked about my dad saying he didn't have friends anymore because they'd all passed away. You need to be actively cultivating new friendships along the way, so that newer, younger people, healthier people are constantly in your circle. Surround yourself with people who are doing the things that you're interested in, but who are also very active. You don't want to surround yourself with people who, there's the coffee group at Starbucks that I go to. They just sit there, like they just sit, drink coffee for 2 hours, and nobody's doing anything. They talk about politics and religion, sadly, for the whole cafe to hear, but they're not active. So they're surrounding themselves with people who think and complain and talk about what's wrong with the world, but they're not doing anything about it, at least from what I can see. Again, maybe they're doing something that I'm not hearing when I overhear these conversations, but you don't want to surround yourself with people like that. You want to surround yourself with people who are saying, oh, I'm working on this project, or I'm tackling this problem, or I see this issue that needs to be addressed and I'm learning about how I can do my part. Those are the people you want to be surrounded with. So as you're choosing the social circles and as you're cultivating new relationships, you want to be thinking about who are the people that are going to move me forward, who are going to raise my interests, who are going to motivate me and inspire me. That's what I'm hoping to get from this women's retreat, is other women who are on the path of self-growth and who are doing the work, and then we'll be inspired, and maybe we can stay in touch past that, which is what I'm really hoping. Again, a new community of people to help inspire and motivate me. So that's what you're looking for as well, is you need those constant relationships, and you need to have growth. That is a huge thing. So when you have this structure, personal growth will something that will be baked in, because you're working on building your skills. You're working on building your physical muscles and your mental muscles to move you through this next chapter with joy, with energy, with aliveness, vitality. And that's one of the benefits of having structure, is you're going to keep doing that growth period. And the other thing, if that's not enough for you, another benefit is people are going to be watching you and saying, oh, that's how it's done. That's how the second act is done. You're going to be an inspiration for the other people who are maybe floundering, who can say, hey, how are you doing this? How are you having such a vibrant second act? And you can show the way and be a beacon for those people who are up and coming. Plus, you're helping solve problems for the next generation that's coming through. There's so much beauty in your second act, and I don't want you to miss out on it. So be a contributor. Be a part of the solution going forward. Build that structure in. That is what's possible for you when you don't take a passive approach to the second act. Take an active approach. Again, take the quiz down below. I'm happy to help you. And there are so many other videos here on my channel that you can dive into that will help you decide, how do I approach the second act so that it's a beautiful celebration of the person I want to become? You're not done. This isn't over. You're becoming somebody new, a whole new identity. And I wish the best for you. So take that quiz down below and let me help you enjoy and have an enriched second act.